Oh, yeah, that's right. And guess what's going to happen? I'm going to hit it twice because you're watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss. It's time for some more fun. And listen, before I get into our guests, I just want to announce my new rebranding for 2015, and it's Mia talking to cool people doing cool shit. That's my new rebranding. What's everybody think? I'm just going to simplify it. Talking to cool people about cool stuff they're doing. And today is no exception. I've got 3 really inspiring entrepreneurs whom I've met recently. 2 of them I'm going to go see in person next week in Vegas. The other one I'm hopefully going to see in DC next month. So I can't wait for you to meet them because they're doing cool shit. I'm going to have to bleep myself in the podcast, by the way. And yes, you can tell that it's okay to swear on my show. So, listen, I'm going to introduce my guests real quickly, and then I'm going to get to the backpack because I know you're out there running around and waiting to hear about this. So, first up, I have Felicia Rateliff, who I jacked your name up in the trailer.
It was awesome.
I was like, what a jerk. You were very gracious about it. So, you may mispronounce my name now.
That's all right, Maya. It's fine. Maya Voss.
My Voff. I had that coming. Hey, girlfriend, where are you coming out of?
I am in Columbia, Missouri.
Which, from what I hear, is the, what do you guys call it, the Silicon Valley of the Midwest?
I hadn't heard that, but yeah, sure.
You know
cool.
what? You know who told me that? Yeah, that sounds cool, doesn't it? Sarah Hill told me that one.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna steal that for the Midwest. So, welcome to the show, honey. I'm so excited to see you. Yay! And here's your partner in crime, Matt Murray. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it right. Now, if you can spell it correctly, that's the tricky part. So,
that's right. Is it not M-U-R-A-Y?
No,
welcome. It's M-U-R-I-E. And you're also in the Silicon Valley of the Midwest. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they tell us, I guess. So.
That's what you've heard. Yeah. And you just got back from Vegas.
Yep.
You getting everything prepped up for the what if?
Yeah, really excited. The energy and the atmosphere out there is super exciting, and excited to go back.
Isn't that fun? So we're going to get into that, you guys, but I just want to give you a quick little backstory that I learned about the Downtown Vegas project when I was at Success Summit, which is where I met our other guest at. Everything loops together. And so I think what's really fun is this conference next week is not going to be on the Strip. It's going to be in downtown. There's some super cool stuff going on, and I'm going to be all over that like white on rice next week, so stay tuned for that. But next up, let's talk about our other guest. On the other coast, that's Adam Zuckerman. Welcome. Oh. I shall clap for you.
Hello,
and hello, and where are you at?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Oh, keeping it real in D.C.
Yeah.
Nice, and I know that you are also getting ready to bust out something super cool, which is, again, why we're all together, because we want to talk about cool events. And you are, what is your company called?
Yeah, I started Fosterly, and we have an event called Collaborate the Innovators Conference. It is the single largest innovation and entrepreneurship event in the DC region of the year. 2 days in downtown DC, and it's pretty rocking.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, I posted all the links for both of these events in the comment stream, so click back down there. I put it in the pictures. You're going to lose your mind when you see what's happening with that. Adam's got really cool ideas for pulling people together. You've got like a couple different forums for your event, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We've had a variety of events over the last 2 years, ranging in size from 30 people to 1,500 plus, and this is the culmination of putting the best of everything we've done into one 2-day format.
I call it gathering your finest meats.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, welcome to the Mia world and the Miaisms. By the way, it keeps on going. So listen, I'm going to get to the backpack, and since you guys haven't been on my show before, the backpack is the audience, and they're out there, they're commenting, so I'm going to pull up a couple comments. We've got, hi, Cheryl Deuce. I like how they say hi to each other. She's saying hi to my girl, Elena, who's in Spain. We got some seriously international stuff going on here. Albert is here. Hi, brother. And Cheryl wants to know if Dave Pipe, who is in UK, brought her breakfast. He's really good about bringing grub to the show. Our girl Lynn is in the audience. Hey, darling. I have, yes, I think I have 4 more sleeps till I get to see Lynn Abate, so I'm pretty excited about that. She's saying hi to my twinsy, Dawn Swick, who's also out there. I am excited that Cheryl's here live because I know sometimes she is working for certain. Mike Bays, he's up in his house. Oh, I know it's soggy in California, Karen Veachin. Oh, man, what are they calling it? The Pineapple Express or something like that? Have you guys heard that? They're calling that the crazy storm. And let me see if I've got a couple others. Hi, Mel Mel. She's out there, too. And Candy is tuning in and laughing at Dave Pipe. She is in Japan. And I think my brother Nazim is on a train going from Milan. Life of Nazim, he's always doing something nutty. So, and then Efot wants to know, she meant to say HOA, but Adam, she wants to know if this is your first HOA.
It is.
We call that popping your cherry.
Uh-oh.
How you feeling?
We'll see.
That gets this noise.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, right. We'll have a cigarette. We'll talk tomorrow. So, listen, you guys, I want to get, so thank you, Backpack, for being here. And please post your comments for our guests as we get through the conversation and talk about these different events. They are off the chain, and you're going to get so inspired by them. So, listen, I'm going to start with Felicia, because ladies first, because I said so. Let's hear about you. How did you get, I mean, this is what I love. Before I do that, I love that all three of these entrepreneurs not only started their ventures, but then they took it to the next step, and they went out and started bringing entrepreneurs together. Love that. So with that, I'm going to talk to, I love Felicia's got her little, I bet that's really not accurate, is it? You need a little
That is what
horns.
we call a facade.
Yeah, in the acting world, that's a facade, and I like it. So Felicia Rateliff, now did I say it right? Tell me about you, honey. How'd you get inspired to do what you do right now?
Oh my goodness. We don't have long enough for me to tell my story, but I actually have been an entrepreneur kind of off and on. Well, I think you kind of just are when you're born, but I off and on for many years. I freelanced. I taught graphic design for many years. I taught high school students. I freelanced and had my own business on the side then. Then I had a crazy psycho boss, which some people can maybe relate to, and I left teaching and started my own business doing marketing and design for about a year and a half or so, and did an event called the Texas State Society Presidential Inaugural Ball honoring President Obama. And so I did all the marketing for that, and I got picked up by a PR firm in Austin, Texas that said, hey, we like what you're doing. How about you come work for us for a while? And, you know, after a year and a half of having my own business, I thought that might be kind of cool to work for somebody else again. And I got to do a lot of really big, high-profile stuff. So I did that for another about a year and a half and remembered that I really don't like working for other people. And so just recently, and looping back into where I'm at now with the What If Conference, had some ideas that I wanted to go back and start doing things on my own and work with really people that really are like-minded and want to do some things in the world. And right at that little tipping point where I was thinking about it, I happened to go to the What If Conference in Columbia, Missouri, where incidentally, really weirdly, the night before the conference, happened to be sitting at a pub next to Matt Murray. Didn't even know who it was. Then went to the conference the next day, and then ended up kind of intermingling in it, and ended up doing a lot of things on the side while I was working for somebody else to help out the What If Conference and some other entrepreneurs here in the Columbia area, and then went to the Business Innovation Factory Conference, which is also sort of kind of like What If, but not as cool. And ended up just, I after lots of wait and lots of thinking, man, this is what I have to do, I decided to quit working full-time for this other company and go back into working for me and with other people who are also entrepreneurs. And the biggest thing about it was that I really felt like I did a lot of really great things with this other firm, worked for some great things, but I wasn't doing things that made me feel like I was giving to my community and were the places that I cared about and the things that I wanted. And so that was where it was like, yeah, I can do all these things voluntarily on the side, or I can find a way to actually make that my life and my job. And so that's what I ended up doing. Now I'm working with Matt on the What If Conference. I'm also starting another company in about a month or so, doing some internal training kind of things for small businesses so they can have a better company culture, and providing resources for that. It's coming soon. We don't even have the name for the business yet, so I can't really talk a lot about it. But
I saw that in the, I love that. And I can just see how Matt was probably like doing this with you.
He was really like, quit your job. No.
But it sounds like serendipity as well, which I love, that
Very much.
That, you know, you just happen to be and I think when you're open to that, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and people just swoop in and pull that in. But you know what I'm loving too about your story, which I know a lot of the audience has that too, is they've ebbed and flowed. And I love being able to change your mind, right? And say, okay, for right now, I want a paycheck. I want some insurance. Okay, I'm going to go find something that can sort of still let me be the entrepreneur that I am, bring that spirit out and do that. And then you're like, and I always say that, I make a terrible employee.
I'm always late to everything, so don't. but yes, and the neat thing about it is that when you really want something and you have that like feeling that I need to do something different, it seems to be that if you just kind of let that keep coming up, that people will pop in that help you get to where you're going. So like the next little rock in the stream that you can step onto just comes forward.
Oh, I love that analogy. I also like you rev your little genie lamp. Okay, rub my genie lamp. Come on, bring it, universe.
Yes,
I love it. Yay! Thank you so much. I'm excited. And you guys go and read Felicia's bio too, because you have all of that in there. And then you got the daughters, you got Crazy Lola, you got the hubby.
Yes, my husband, who married me 2 times.
I know. I love that. I think. Can you just tell us?
That's a whole other show.
Okay. We're going to have to do that on the romance and then redo romance.
Oh, my God.
I love it. Well, honey, thank you so much for being with us today. Yay. Next up, let me get your partner in crime going so he can finish that story. Matt, tell us about you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, everybody, I think, has a crazy story to entrepreneurship, but I think Felicia touched on it briefly there. One of the things I've learned on this journey is that I think anybody can really become an entrepreneur, but I think so many people are actually born an entrepreneur. And that's one of the things I realized is me finally making this push into entrepreneurship. It's as stressful and as crazy and as broke as I currently am. Both, like, I feel like I'm broke in financially, everything, right? It still feels this push going forward. I still feel like everything's okay, because even as scary as it is, because it's really just becoming who I was. And I look back in all these things in my life that made me feel strange or weird or like not fitting in. I'm now realizing that those weren't necessarily strange or weird things. They were just that entrepreneurial side of me and that perspective I had. And I wasn't fitting in because I wasn't applying them to entrepreneurial pursuits, and I was surrounded by non-entrepreneurs who didn't get it. And if they don't get, like, because if anybody who's an entrepreneur, you know people who look at you and go, "You're crazy." And it's when I quit my job as an English professor last May, it really comes out, because I tell people, it's like, "Hey, look, man, I just quit my job to do What If full time," and you get 2 different responses, and it's either, "Are you insane?"
Right.
You know, "Do you need money? I can help you out," right? And the other is, "Congratulations." And this is across the board. And you can realize that all the entrepreneurs in my life, the first thing out of their mouth was "Congratulations." Nothing else, just "Congratulations." That's
right. Or you also get it starts with what, but it's "what the."
Yeah. And so this is all real. So I feel that's part of it. But I don't wish things in the past. It's just that it did take a long time before I finally made that leap. And I remember it all started when I'm an author as well. And when my first book went out of print, I was so frustrated for a number of reasons. And I contacted my agent. I'm like, "Well, how do I make sure this never happens again?" So she gave me some tips and some advice, and I started looking into it. The publishing industry has changed so much. I didn't realize this at the time. But in order to publish, it used to be publishers did most of the promotion and a lot of the work for you outside of writing. Well, now writers have to do so much, and essentially writers today have to be entrepreneurs. And this is, I think, why there's a big shift from traditional publishing into self-publishing, because they're like, "Hey, look, if I'm going to do all the work myself, let's cut out the middleman." And so I started doing all this stuff and looking at how can I be a better writer or promoter. And when I realized it wasn't just about being marketing and PR, because the one source I kept going back to is Entrepreneur Magazine. And it's like, wait a second, I'm an entrepreneur. And this was not only strange but scary for me. My background, I was in the Peace Corps. I worked in nonprofits. I was in education. Like, to me, entrepreneurs were a part of the business world. And business was bad. It was evil. They destroyed the world, and I was dedicating my life to save the world. And it was very strange. So it was a slow process. And I'll never forget that magazine. It had Ben Kaufman, the CEO and founder of Quirky. And I read about Quirky, and it's like, wait a second, here's this young guy who's starting a business, and not only is he starting a business, but it's social. It's about bringing people together. It's not about just making money. It's about solving problems. It's about forming a community. I was like, wait a second, this is what business can be? So I started digging and reading more and more in business, and as a professor, next thing you know, it starts coming into my classrooms. And I start teaching entrepreneurship. I start giving assignments and reading, and we're applying entrepreneurship to writing papers and literature. And that's what made me realize that entrepreneurship isn't about starting a business, it's a perspective. And it's a perspective and a process of problem solving, using tools like empathy, lifelong learning, all these things that we're all better off doing, whether we want to start a business or not. Mm-hmm. And that's what got me to be really passionate, not just about entrepreneurship, but encouraging others to follow their entrepreneurial path or to go through this entrepreneurial process. And so all these things start colliding together. And then when I was already kind of doing What If more as a club or just a fun activity, with this entrepreneurship side coming, I was like, well, what if I could turn this into a business? Because that would have never happened before, but the other key ingredient that happened was I learned about social entrepreneurship. And that was the final piece, that wait a second, not only can I be a business, not only can I do all this that's very fulfilling, but I can keep a social message, I can keep all these things I wanted to do and still work to make the world a better place, but through a different route.
Boom, and now you know why Matt's on the show. I love that too. That's been a new thing for me. I want to say new, but that next step, I love that for the entrepreneurship is bringing in that social entrepreneurship too. I think that's a journey that most of the entrepreneurs go through. You just kind of go through the siloed a little bit. I just got to make money because you're already scared enough going out there. But I love hearing your was that your first what if question? What if I can turn this into a business?
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? My first what if question is probably too far back.
I was going to say that's probably when you learn to talk and form a thought.
What if a business can be not focused on making money, but can be focused on really changing the world? And that's kind of the thing I learned, that so many nonprofits, the frustration I had with a lot of corporations was the same frustration I was having with nonprofits, which was they weren't agile and they were so bureaucratic. It was so difficult to do something. And with entrepreneurship and in the for-profit model, it's so agile, it's so lean, it's much more efficient.
What I'm loving too, to add into, yes, they can be about not making money, but they are profitable, which is excellent. It's okay to make money being socially conscious. And that was something at the Success Summit where I met our next guest, Adam, that a lot of these people had been very successful, and then they're going to their next thing, which is really bringing in more community and getting people, kind of bringing up the level of consciousness all around them. And I love it. I love it, love it. Hey, let me pull in a couple more comments before I bring in my brother. And Matt, thank you for joining us. And this was last minute, and I was so excited. I was like, I got to get Matt and Felicia on here. I know I'm going to be there next week, but this will give you a chance because you guys are going to be nutso at the What If conference next week. In a good way. So let me bring in a few more comments and then we'll talk about Adam. So I love this from my girl, Lynn. Entrepreneurs who are still working for the man are entrepreneurs. Amen. What if it's going to be off the hook? I love that distinction, by the way. Alma made a great point. Changing your mind and follow your steps for change is what I call course correction. I like that a lot. Let's see. Hi, One Great Life. Hi, Phil. Felicia, always who before what and how. Congrats for making this transition. Love, love, love it. And real quick, Cynthia is able to join us again. I'm excited. She's coming in from Philly. And my favorite snake guy, Cameron, he loves this HOA. He loves snakes, and he loves this HOA. Learn, learn, learn is all I do. Amen. That's the way to be. Never stop learning. So next up, let's talk to Adam and see what's going on with you, brother.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So tell us about you.
Okay, so I'm a DC area native. I left for a long time, and like Matt said, I think that some people are more entrepreneurial than others. That said, there's a really interesting statistic in the States that the average age of people that are starting companies now is actually 34. It's not the 21-year-old, 22-year-old hoodies that just left college and they're working out of their parents' basement. It's individuals like yourself, Matt, that have gone through the paces, so to speak. They've experienced challenges in the workplace, and they want to start something different, something new. And the whole idea of change, of cause, of double bottom line companies in the last 5 years is an unbelievable shift in that mentality. And fortunately for me, I found myself evolving into that space in a very, very interesting way. I'm an attorney, I have an MBA, I've worked for some very large companies like Anheuser-Busch and hedge funds that are valued at well over $1 billion, and small companies like startups and nonprofits. And about 3 years ago, I started going to coffee shops. I quit my job, We left, traveled around the world, picked up some contracts with Startup America Partnership to help them out. And in DC, I went to coffee shops and said, hey, who needs help? Come and talk to me. I've got an unusual network. If I can help you, I will. If not, no worries. I'll try and find somebody that can. And a few weeks in, what I noticed was we had 20, 30, 40 people showing up in an afternoon, and three things kind of hit. One, I'm not that smart. They were coming not just because I was there, but because they knew this community of innovators, of entrepreneurs, of people that were curious and helping other people were going to be there. Two is that there's a lot of questions that people ask over and over and over. Where do I get my start? How do I find this business plan? Who do I talk to about VC capital? What do I do about XYZ? Look at my UX UI. And aggregating these people that have these questions over and over and over kind of makes that situation better. And one of the reasons why people compare their cities oftentimes to Silicon Valley in New York, saying, oh, we want to emulate them, it's not that you don't have the tech or the knowledge, it's that they have an unbelievable community that they can call upon when they need help. And the third thing is that if you can create structure and create a community that brings people together to help, they're going to be much more efficient and much more effective at starting their ventures, because the reality is there are no companies that are on the Fortune 500 list, no successful campaigns in politics, no innovation that happens with only one or two people. They all have large staffs, large people working together, and the trick is to figure out how to be agile. So those coffee shop visits, they expanded into innovative, interactive, collaborative work sessions that we called Study Hall for 30 to 50 entrepreneurs, and those grew to 300, and that grew to the day of Fosterly, where we had people like Anish Chopra, the first CTO of the country, come with 600 people, and that grew into a larger conference called GovFest, where we had 1,400 registrants, and that takes us to where I am today. In my part-time gig, because everybody that does Fosterly is a full-time job somewhere else, we have the single largest entrepreneurship and innovative conference of the region in January. So it's a little bit of my background.
Yeah, a little bit. That's so awesome, and it's very grassroots. I know with the start of that. Did you do any research on that when you started to formulate that, Adam, or was it? Did you see what else? I mean, obviously there was a need, because if it went from that small to 300, I mean that's huge. And I mean, you look on Meetup and there's something everywhere, but it sounds like there was a need specifically for the secret sauce you guys have going on.
Yeah, so Fosterly is different. Most companies start with someone saying, I recognize a problem in the market and I'm going to try and solve it and make money off of it. The way that we started Fosterly was, hey, I just want to help people out and pay it forward. If something good comes with it, fantastic. And it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And it's been very surprising to watch how it evolved for a lot of people. And we've been around long enough that 3 years in an entrepreneurship community, that's decades in business.
Right.
And most people, when you ask them what they're going to be doing in 6 months with their company, if they're pre-seed, pre-series A, they have no idea where they're going to be. They have goals and aspirations. But 3 months, 6 months, that's a lifetime. It's an eternity. I mean, people talk about run rates in weeks sometimes, not in the sense of years. And 3 years later, we've seen an evolution of DC's market. We've seen an evolution of the other places that we've had events like New York. We've been asked to expand to places like New Zealand and Australia and Seattle and Denver and other places. And we said, you know what? We're going to focus on where we are in DC. We're going to have a great experience here. And people are going to come to us and we'll help them go out. So long story short, no, it wasn't intended to be a business. But fortunately, things have worked out fairly well for us.
Okay, so that's a cool distinction as well. So it's not, yes, it's very DC centric, but you are bringing people that are it's saying, you know, we don't want to dilute our message too much by trying to replicate that around the country. But you know, obviously you can get on Google Hangouts too and connect with people, but get on a plane and go out there and see what the magic's happening for it too.
Exactly. Our goal is to make it easier for anybody to start, grow, and scale their business. We want to introduce them to the relationships and contacts and the resources they need to be able to do that, because the reality is when you go to conferences, the vast majority of conferences, and I looked at the What If conference, it looks fantastic, and I don't expect this to happen, but you leave with a stack of business cards this big, and the reality is those business cards are bullshit. You don't care about those. What you care about is the relationship that those business cards represent, and if you can't call on those relationships later, the stack of paper means nothing. And the analogy that you can draw is when your friend calls you up and says, hey, I need you to help me move. I need you to help me fix my car. I need you to help me drive me someplace. If they only call you for, I need help with blank, you're going to stop picking up the phone.
That's
but
right.
if your friend that you hang out with that you'll go to bat for calls you up, you're going to go, fine, I'm going to help you move your fucking couch, but you're buying dinner. You know, and you're 35 years old, shouldn't you get somebody to do that for you now? I shouldn't have to do that. Those are the relationships and conversations that we try and foster. And
Yes.
things have been very successful. We put together some unbelievable event components for it. The people that come back over and over and over are great. And the partners that we put in place, ranging from Verizon, the DC government, to the companies that are participating, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Forward US, journalists from Recode, Entrepreneur Magazine, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal,
Yeah, TechCrunch, right?
TechCrunch. Things are unbelievably strong for the ecosystem, and we're just happy to be able to be part of it.
So that's a cool component that I'm seeing then too, and I know that What If has that same thing. That that dog agrees too.
Yeah, that's Lola.
wait till Maggie the Beagle starts going to town over here. It's going to be awesome. But I see that common thing is that everybody is, you've created an environment too that it is sort of attracting people that, yes, it is a pay it forward and helping, but it's not based on, help me move my couch kind of thing, but it's a higher elevation. Oh look, and now she's just gone.
I just shut the door.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
This is what we call home officing. Yeah, seriously. No, and I didn't even rein my beagle in. But don't you guys agree? Like, and let's just jump into the conversation that I think it really is about creating these communities and bringing together like-minded entrepreneurs so that you're not worrying about that, that big stack of business cards. It's just somebody just asking to access your all your contacts, which I've had happen to me a lot lately. So
yeah,
go ahead.
That's a single reason why we always talk over each other. It's my turn.
No, but if I could jump in real quickly on the business card thing, because I just had this conversation about one of the strengths about what happens at What If as a networking opportunity is that
you shouldn't call it networking. That is building relationships.
Well, that's right. It's a whole different thing, because like when you go to a place to network, you go up to somebody and you say, "What's your name? What do you do?"
Yeah,
and that's the first time you see them, and you're saying this as you're handing cards to each other, right?
That's right.
And what happens at What If, partly because we bring in people from all these different sectors. Like, it's not just executives or not just entrepreneurs. We have retirees, we have students, we have educators, we have the last person you would normally talk to. So you already, like, when you're talking to a teacher or a student, you don't even know if they have a business card. So instead of saying, like, that conversation doesn't happen. But if and when business cards are exchanged, they're exchanged later in the day after you've had 3, 4, 5 hours of working, of solving problems, of collaborating together. So before any information is exchanged, you're doing it as humans. Like, if I am asking you for your information or giving you my information at What If, it's because not I'm interested in what you do, but I'm interested in who you are. And I think that's a big distinction that we've seen come out of this. But yeah, so sorry for talking over, because I know
okay. That's exactly what I was going to say, but even more so is that when you sit all day and you talk about, like, in the What If conference, we have people that ask a what if question and then they expand on it, and then everyone who listens all collaborates and talks about issues and about things. And so the people that I formed relationships with from that conference, they, it kind of qualified them. I was able to have people that I connect with on a whole different level, and now they are my colleagues, my business partners, but my peers as well. And so I'm creating this huge network of people, and that when I do business with them, they care about stuff, and I know that they do. And so it's just creating this world that I live in of people that I know believe in things too, and it's promoting that social entrepreneurship kind of thing. It's not just, oh, this guy has this print shop that I need, and so I'll go to him. It's like, I talk to this guy, and he really cares about a lot of cool stuff, and it's what he's doing that's great. So when I work with him, I feel good about it.
And it's easier conversations because you already know you're not explaining a bunch of stuff, because everybody's already sort of on that same level, so you're not having to and I love the vetted thing too. You already feel like if it's at these gatherings, there are already people that you're not like, oh, please don't sell me your juice product that you just spent your last $500.
And another thing, I sat and talked a lot, and I talked to people about a lot of great big ideas, and big issues, and then it sort of helped me to realize who I was a little bit more. You know, I already know who I am. I'm almost 42 years old, but I don't know. Like talking to other people and voicing what I care about and my knowledge of things kind of made me reflect inward and say, you know, I really do care a lot more about this issue than I thought. Maybe that's some place I need to go and take, you know, my business or my life and move into that area. And here's a person that I've been talking to that can help me get in that direction. So it's just multifaceted.
There's a list of things, of questions that you can phrase to learn more about somebody than what you do. It's what are you passionate about? How do you waste your weeks when you're not working? What makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing on the weekends? If you can get to the core of what people are passionate about, you're going to learn and connect on a much better basis. And hopefully, and not all people have this luxury, what they're passionate is what they do for a living. And you can figure that out based on the conversation, and you can speak to someone for 3 hours and never have to ask them what they do, and you can learn a hell of a lot more about them than what that title is on their card.
It's kind of like what Matt was saying too. It's not only like when you learn who they are, that's when you learn what they do, or that's almost like sort of secondary. It's the same kind of thing too. Quick question for you: what do you guys think would be a better word for networking? Because I'm sort of struggling that with a group that I'm starting here in Denver, and networking does make people kind of cringe. So let's throw that out there. What would be some? I mean, I love building relationships, but what are some other terms we can use for that, like for your gatherings and things like that?
Well, I like the relationship building. I like maybe it's too vague, but it's just like it's just making connections. Like the connections can go anywhere. Collisions. I know Collisions is big, both out in Biff and in the downtown project in Las Vegas. They try to measure collisions, or they create collisions. Yeah. I kind of like that. I know it has some negative or some violent connotations to it, but I like the idea of collisions because it, things collide and then they ripple out in unpredictable, directions.
And that was another connection to you guys when we were at the Success Summit. Tony Hsieh came on and talked about his downtown Vegas project. I got all kinds of fired up. I can't wait to see the container park, by the way. I'm going to nerd out. I'm going to be all over that. I'm telling you, like, that is just so cool. But that was the word that he used. Yeah, it was collisions, and I thought that was just super. That was such a clever way to put it, because you collide and then just the ripples happen too. So, and then you guys, let's talk a little bit more about the different what-if questions. Tell us some more about some of the questions that are going to be posed at the conference, because I know I have my question for next week too. For my what-if, do you want to hear what mine is?
Yeah, please.
Mine is, what if volunteering weren't just at the holidays? Because you guys know, if anybody follows me on social media, I get nutty about the different volunteer programs that I go to or that I participate in, but it's year-round for me. So that's my question I'm going to pose, is more just making it just this natural, not just a November, December kind of thing. So that's what I'm going to bust out. But tell us some more about some of the other what-if questions.
Well, it's like choosing which one you're most excited about. It's kind of like choosing. I don't have kids, but it's.
Yeah, there's 22.
It's like which one is the thing I'm excited about most of all is even though it's a conference on we're focusing on entrepreneurship, is that how we're going to look at how entrepreneurship intersects different aspects of our life, particularly self, education, community, and the future. And there's a few that Boy, I'll tell you what. One of the ones I'm really excited about is I've someone I connected with out in Asheville, North Carolina. He's an entrepreneur who does tiny homes, and he's going to be asking a question. It's called, "What if the first step to being an entrepreneur was a tiny one?" So he's kind of integrating this idea of his passion and his interest in simplifying life to his entrepreneurial journey. And again, it's not a sales pitch to buy one of his houses. It's like him taking the lessons of what, again, you're talking about what you're passionate about in your job, and that's exactly what he's doing, or what your work is. And it's exactly what he's doing, but then how others can take that and push it into their own directions, whether they start a business or live in a tiny home or not. The other one that I'm really excited about is someone's asking, what if we could hack upward mobility? And he's a grad student. His name's Frank Romo. He's a graduate student from the University of Michigan, and he's a first-generation college student. And his whole thing is like, look, it's if no one in your family's been to college, and especially if you come from a lower socioeconomic environment, it's challenge enough just to get into college. But then finding where all the resources are located, getting all the forms filled out, and all of this is a real challenge. So he's created an app that he's going to be launching at What If Vegas that's an app that allows people to simplify this process of getting into college so that everything's streamlined, all the resources in your neighborhood is right there, so there's no lowering the barriers of being able to get into college and actually going to college.
Dude, right? How fun is that going to be? But see, I'm loving that too. I thought this, you guys can see from the what if questions, it really does get people thinking. And then again, the really unique proposition that I like about it is that you have this section where it's the what if, and then we break, and we're all going to talk about it. So it's not just this sitting in the chair, and then you have a little bit to go get a tinkle break, and then you come back and you don't get to connect with anybody, right? It's like stop, and everybody get together, and then go to the next one.
And all of that is like these are just launching off points. I know. I realize the two questions I gave were probably they're the ones I'm excited about, but they probably weren't the best examples as far as the way the conference goes. Is because these aren't like, all right, here's my idea, now go buy it or go do it. These are short talks. So what happens is the crowd then takes these ideas that they're launching or they're asking, and then they collaborate to design actions and connect them together to other questions that were asked. So
love it.
These individuals are only kicking it off, but the entire group, we call it crowdsourcing curiosity. So like the same way you could crowdsource something on Kickstarter or whatever else for funding, we're taking the ideas and they're all gonna leave with something that was communally designed, right? And so the outcome is completely unpredictable.
There's
Go
there's
ahead,
a startup called Betterific out of DC that you guys might want to check out. It could continue the conversation after the event, or maybe even at it. It's an online crowdsourcing platform for innovative ideas around the question, wouldn't it be better if?
Huh.
That's what we need. Yeah.
If you guys want an intro, just send me an email. I'll be happy to hook you up.
I would love
That just happened. That's why I love it too. Hey guys, if you're just tuning in, you're watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm Mia Voss. I've got 3 kick-ass people. I have Matt Murray, I have Felicia Rateliff, and I have Adam Zuckerman, and they are talking about cool stuff they're doing. Yay! All right, so
right meow.
and right meow. And I said right meow. So Adam, talk to us about some of the formats you've got going on. I was saying in the green room, I've got a huge crush on this media match thing that you're busting out. Talk about that.
The reality is that journalists, although they need to source stories, they oftentimes have difficulty finding new ones, and then they don't like being trapped. It's the big elephant in the room that everybody wants to speak to. And entrepreneurs, they oftentimes don't know how to actually pitch their ideas and their stories to the respective journalists. So what we do is we make that simple for everybody. We crowdsource who we want to bring in. We then reach out and contact and confirm some of the leading journalists and media in the country, ranging from Walt Mossberg at Recode, who was the former founder of All Things D for Wall Street Journal, TechCrunch, John Biggs, Entrepreneur Magazine. We've got Melanie Spring coming in. The entire gamut, Ars Technica, Yahoo Tech, local to big. And what we do is we provide an environment where over the course of 2 days, we're going to be able to create 600 individual media impressions. And from that, people get coverage, they get stories, and the format that we do it in is very unique in that you have 60 seconds to pitch your story to the journalist. They have 90 seconds to give you feedback if they like. They can take notes, and if the journalist wants your contact information to follow up, they can ask for it, but you can't ask for the journalist's contact information. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't be able to find it later, but what that does is it creates an environment where you can get honest feedback from people. This is what you need to do for me to actually cover you, or here's an introduction to somebody else that might be more interested because this is my beat.
Ooh, that's good.
We have, when we do these in the past, we have between 100 and 250 people lined up for these events. And what's great about it is that we've created a improved format this year that it breaks it up into 4 different segments. We're going to have a variety of different subject matters, and it's a lot more efficient, so you don't have to queue and miss your other opportunities for the event because there's so many different things going on and collaborating.
That's a tough one too that usually happens with conferences, so that's fantastic. Yeah, you're going to like sort of get it orchestrated so you can choose, but you're not, because we all have that FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah, and we ran into that problem, to be honest, in some of our other events where components were overlapping, or the times didn't add up, or they were different spaces. And what we've done is we've reorganized the entire flow of this event. We have the best conference venue in the entire city that's not convention center size. We wanted it to be a little bit more intimate. And we have organized the programmatic functionality so people move in a herd mentality. You start at the keynotes, then you go to the forums. From the forums, you go to the workshops and media match and the roundtables. You get to choose what you're going to, and you start rotating throughout the day in your specific instances. And what's great is that we're seeing these companies register with 3 or 4 people saying, you're going to go to this, you're going to go to this, you're going to go to this,
Oh, yeah.
and we're going to completely maximize our experience for the 2 days.
So smart. Listen, I want to give a quick comment from Carmen. She's digging your shiz. Being blown away in 10 minutes, DC, not District of Columbia, but dynamic collaboration.
Yeah. You should come, Carmen. We've got people coming over from across the country flying in. And the way that we priced it was people told us this should be a $1,200 plus or a $5,000 a person conference. And we said, absolutely not. It's $199. If you register with the AZ Collab, you can save 20%. But it's one of those things where we want this to be for the masses, and the response so far has been fantastic.
Hey, talk to me real quick. Also, you're going to be offering that for the people in the military.
Yeah, so what we recognize is that if you're in the military, if you're in Gov, it can be very difficult to get procurement and dollars to come to conferences. 100% free. The way that we make our money, and it's not a lot of money that we're trying to make because we all have full-time jobs, which is great. This is more of a pay-it-forward event, is on the ticket sales and sponsorships. We're lucky to have some fantastic partners coming in. If you're Gov, if you're Mil, if you have one of those email addresses, come hang out for the 2 days, and it won't cost you a dime.
And this is what I call a good show when everybody's bobbleheading.
Yeah.
Because they're all excited. So I think that's such a smart idea to do as well. So you can sort of, I really do. I love that because you're bringing in people, they need to be recognized as well. That's been coming up on my show a lot. So I appreciate that.
That's the thing, is that we're in D.C. and oftentimes people say Washington is broken and they think of Congress. But the reality is that there are more technologists per capita in the D.C. area than anywhere else in the country. And the innovation that happens in this region, it will blow you away when you get a spotlight on it. And it's not just from military tech and security operations and cybersecurity and accelerators and incubators and co-working spaces, but there are some really interesting things that are going on in government, from 18F out of the GSA with the Presidential Innovation Fellows to Octo in the local government here. Like, it's amazing. And we have 4 expos and showcases, one to showcase startups, one to showcase the entities that can help the startups, one to showcase the innovative programs in government, and one for companies and organizations that want to help the government get better. So it's an event that is the full Venn diagram, the intersection of public-private sector, the private sector, the public sector, and you don't actually have to interact to be able to learn from other people.
So just so you guys know, when I met Adam in Boulder, I was just sitting there like, keep talking.
I was just going to say, I know we're probably breaking format of your show, but thank you, Mia, for connecting us with Adam. And Adam, we need to, like, maybe even right now, we need to schedule a time to talk sometime soon.
We need to combine.
Because one of the things that you hit on is, like, one of the things we're trying to be disruptive with What If conferences is 2 different things. Like we model our, like, we don't model, like, we're still very much blue ocean, right? In terms of, I feel like we're creating something that doesn't exist. We're oftentimes compared to TED conferences or TEDx, right? And I think as we expand the independently organized events, there are similarities to how we're doing it, right? And there are similarities, but one of the big things that has frustrated me with, like, Big TED and other conferences is, like what you said, the tickets are $5,000, $8,000, thousands of dollars a ticket, and it already starts self-selecting who can attend. So part of our mission is, like, we want to democratize the question asking process, and that can't happen with tickets that are thousands of dollars. So I want to make sure I pick your brain on how you go about making sure that you can keep a conference going without losing, your house, but you can keep those ticket prices. So I know we have a lot to learn from what you're doing on that regard.
Hey, I'm happy to help. I'm fortunate that I'm able, and one of the reasons why we can approach it the way that we have is everybody at Fosterly is a full-time job somewhere else. So I run innovation for the largest nonfiction media company in the world, which is a lot of fun. I work at Discovery Channel. But I'd be happy to talk and brainstorm with you guys to figure out ways to help you leverage and get intros that you need to help you out.
I'm going to have to come to your conference because I have a lot of friends in D.C. that love when I come visit
Seriously, come on in if you want. I'll spotlight you on the site next week. We're launching a distinguished attendees page, so it'll help you out a little bit there.
Sounds good.
I was just looking at the website.
That's exciting.
It's a terrible website. I promise if you come, you'll have a miserable experience. Low expectations. Hopefully we can exceed them.
And you have to come to a What If conference too, though.
Yeah.
I would love to. I'm actually going to be in Vegas for CES, so if you guys want to stick around a few extra weeks, we can say hi and play.
This how it is. And again, Matt says it's the breaking format. Anybody who's watched my show, they're like, "There's no format." It's kind of a wild west out here. But that's that's the collision, and that's how stuff happens when you're not trying to stay too much like you only need to answer this question or only talk about this. So it's all wild and open. So let me throw in a few more comments because people are losing their minds. It's exciting. Hold on a second. It's good. Phil says from Run Great Your Life, not networking, humanize the event for the person across from you, fostering interactions, collisions, creating ripples, connections. Get your learn on. What if Vegas? Laura, hey, I know, right? Hashtag crowdsourcing curiosity. Love that too. Mike says networking can be looky-loos. Networking speed data-ing. Networking powwows. That speed data-ing, that was hilarious. I like that one. Danielle likes the idea of meshing. Yep. Alma says, love that formula, fostering interactions.
And there's a reason why the company's name is Fosterly and the conference is Collaborate.
Exactly, yeah. You just got the key words in there, and then the what if I love as well, because it really is, it's like then you can riff on what if forever.
So I wanted to make a comment from what Lynn commented before about if you're you're still working for the man and that's entrepreneurship. And I just want to say there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that is an awesome thing. Before every time I've actually worked for somebody else, I've gone in and done something inside of their company. Like when I taught, I created the first graphic arts program at the school that I taught at. When I worked for the PR firm, I created a content marketing program for them and created an internal training program for them. And I just, when you have that entrepreneurial mindset, sometimes you're not in the place in your life where you can work for yourself. But if you've got the ideas and the ability to lead and make change, you can do that inside of a business too, and that's just as awesome.
That's a pretty common thing that I say. We actually had a show a couple weeks ago called Horrible Bosses, which was hilarious, and there was definitely a lot of stories of how people got to what they're doing now because of some crappy-ass boss. But I love saying that, right? I've had a few. I love saying that, though, that those people, I call them entrepreneurs with a paycheck. Dude, you know what? You've got insurance. Listen, if that's working and you can find a place that does celebrate and let you do, like Felicia, what happened for you, like let you create things.
Yeah, right? As long as you're okay with pissing people off, then you can do that. Because that's what I did everywhere I went. I pissed everybody off, and then I had to leave. But, it's good.
I just chuckling my ass off over here. Because, I always say it's not a day that ends in why I'm not pissing somebody off.
Every day.
Oh, yeah, every damn day. So listen, guys, we're going to start transitioning. So not sure if you saw. You guys don't know this, but everybody else knows what's coming. We do a what's on section, and so I choose randomly. So I'm going to do 2 what's on. The first one is going to be what's on your feet. So I just want to see what everybody's got on their feet. I'm going to do that today, and I will start with me. Look at these bad boys. Oh! Hot, right? What do we got, Matt? What's on your feet, brother? Come on.
Wow, this is a good. Normally, I have 2 socks that don't match. That goes back to my TED Talk. But
yes, which I love.
Since it's cold and we have a fireplace, I've got. I don't know if you can see, but I've got. Where are my feet?
Toes.
That is selfie-worthy right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing on my feet. They're bare.
You have warm toes. That's what you got on the bottom.
On the fire.
I wish it was the mismatched sock day, and you guys should go watch that TEDx. It's amazing. I posted that link. Miss Felicia, what's on the bottom? What's on your feet?
Let's see if I can put down here. I've got boots on today. Okay, so I've got my really, really holy pants on today. My dad calls them my church pants because they're holy. And my boots because I decided we have to do so much stuff that I needed a kind of rock star dress today, so get me in the mood to get a lot of stuff done.
You know what? And that's for a lot of people that work from home. Sometimes it really is good to just be ready to jam.
Sometimes I have to put on makeup and clothes and shoes just so I can get stuff done because I have fallen into working in the pajamas sometimes.
The yoga pants. Well, that's a great quote from Breakfast Club because you never know when you may have to jam. And you're ready.
Great, yeah.
You are ready to jam. All right, Adam, you've had time to put some socks on or shoes or pants or whatever you need to do.
I got some hiking boots on. I'm climbing Kilimanjaro, so I gotta get used to the shoes.
You know, that's ready to jam. You gotta have that in the big city. You gotta be ready to run.
Casual Friday.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, so now we're going to get to the Bat Crap Crazy and your call to action. If you guys don't know, everybody that's in the audience, the Bat Crap Crazy is person, place, or thing. Anything that you're crazy about, you want to shout out about, which obviously we've been doing for the last 45 minutes, which I love. So, yeah, what's your Bat Crap Crazy and what's your call to action? So I'm going to start with Matt. What's your Bat Crap Crazy, brother? Tell me. Yeah.
You know, I don't even know where to start. I am so
right.
So I'm supposed to give somebody a shout out here?
You can give anybody. You know, I've even had a Bat Crap Crazy, which was Game of Thrones. I mean, people just like whatever they're crazy about that week. So, give me one or two.
Well, all right. You know what? Forget. I'll do this because I don't want to be completely self-promoting. Because right now I'm so overwhelmed with like this conference coming up next week. So I won't self-promote, but instead, and this is a conversation we had before we jumped on. I'm back crap crazy about the downtown project. Like I just got back from I presented a What If workshop at the Catalyst Creatives Creative Week last week, and part of that is the workshop is only an hour long. The other days we get to tour the city, but not the city, the strip, the downtown part. Visit with entrepreneurs who are making lives there. Get to some of the. We took a tour of Zappos, got to meet many of the executives from Delivering Happiness, from Inside Zappos, from all this, and what's going on in downtown Las Vegas is unbelievable. And I encourage everybody not just to go to Las Vegas, but skip the strip and go straight downtown, find a place to stay. And if you want to gamble and go out and all that, that's there. They have that stuff there. But like we say, when you go up on Las Vegas Boulevard, you hit Fremont, and you can go left to all the casinos, or you can go right to all of what's real. And there you've got pizza places, you've got bars, you've got restaurants, you've got O-Face Donuts, you've got the container park, you've got a dog park, you've got an Airstream tiny home park, you've got like just people living and breathing, and it's incredible. And what they've done in such short amount of time, that not just encourage entrepreneurship, but revitalize a downtown and urban landscape is unbelievable. You can Google it, but visit there too. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, and I rarely go to the right, but I'm going to be taking a right at Fremont when I get there next week. I'm actually going on, I booked my trip early on Wednesday, and again, I get to see Lynn, and her niece is going to be there. I'm so excited. We're going to be kicking around at all that, so you guys stay tuned for that, because O-Face Donuts, you had me at O-Face Donuts.
Oh, no, it's great. If I could do one more thing that I love about the way they're revitalizing downtown is the building where O-Face Donuts is in. They maintain. It's not like we're going to tear all these buildings down and create new ones.
Right.
They keep the facades. They keep the old-fashioned neon lights, the same deco design that was there from the 1950s and 60s. So in the building where O-Face Donuts and there's a smoothie shop and all this, it's like the Eden Motel, I want to say. So that sign is still hanging out there. The same original colors of the white and the light blue, and it looks like they keep the integrity of the past while they're creating the new. And it's just if you're a fan of architecture, design, any of this, it's stunning, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you are a brother from another mother for me, because you love the same stuff that I do, which I think is so exciting too. And hey, what's your call to action?
My call. All right, now I'll self-promote. Come out to Vegas. Come out to What If Vegas, and if you can't attend that's where we want to see it because it's the first one. Just join the What If community. You know, we're not just these physical events. Our whole thing is we're turning what if from a question into an action. We want what if to be this where people don't sit back and, well, oh shit, now what if? We want what if to be, hey, what if we do this and let's do it, right?
Right.
And we're trying to connect people from all over the world so that we need to bridge this gap between motivation and the ability to execute on ideas, and that can't happen alone. So if you have a question, if you have ideas of how to help other people turn their questions into action, please connect with our community, drive us forward, and we're very much a community-driven organization. We're putting on conferences and events all over the world, but not because we're doing it, just because we connect with people who want to work with us. So if you're interested in joining or participating or being a part of the community in any way, please reach out. And not only would we love to have you, we need to have you.
Yep. I love it. Amen. All right, listen. Thank you so much for that. And listen, guys, if you do want to go to, What If Vegas, or you know somebody that's there, we're going to put the link in, and you can put in the code MIAV, and you're going to get $100 off the ticket because I said so. Yay! All right, so listen, let's go. Let me go to Brother Adam. Tell me what you're back crap crazy about, darling, and tell me your call to action.
I am bat crap crazy about the What If Conference. You should go to the whatifconference.com and get your ticket. And,
Get it, brother?
No, that's pretty
paying it
fantastic
forward.
what you guys are up to. And I seriously think you should merge with Betterific somehow to get the community on the online platform. You guys should acquire them or partner or do something. If I had to do a number 2, Oculus Rift, virtual reality, Google Cardboard, all that new tech jazz is stuff that's pretty cool. I was fortunate enough to get to play with some really interesting stuff that's not quite on the market. And the next year or 2 is going to be pretty friggin' interesting for a lot of people. It's good.
I would call that a number 2 nerd alert for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. No, I love it. And Brother Adam, what's your call to action, darling?
My call to action is go to the whatifconference.com website.
This man is paid for it. I love it.
And make sure that you use Mia's code to save $100 because she cares about you.
Can I just say that Adam rocks out with his sock out?
I don't even know what that means.
But I always love putting those words together. Fun for you, honey. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited, and I'm really hoping to get. We're rolling the dice and get it to me to get out to DC next month. I can't miss it. All right, Miss Felicia. Last but not least, girlfriend.
All right, call to action first is okay. It wouldn't be right if I didn't say that I should go back and say you should go to Collaborate.
No.
But as well, but also my call to action is also what Matt said. So I don't have to elaborate.
It's all good.
So my back crap crazy is the chair that I'm sitting on.
Oh dear, let me see it.
Soul seat. This is called it's called a soul seat, and our friend invented it, and it is so awesome because I can sit and I can cross my legs and I can spin around. And,
hell yeah!
And I hadn't been in my home office in a while because I've been working with Matt at this co-working space, and the chairs there hurt my back so much. I went to the chiropractor this morning. My chiropractor is mad at me because I had a bad back injury several months ago, and I've recovered from it, but I have to keep on it and make sure that I don't get lazy or my back will get all messed up again. So this chair keeps my back aligned and keeps me moving, and it doesn't hurt when I sit on it. And I helped with a Indiegogo campaign not too long ago, and our friend who invented the chairs just came back from Vegas to the Ergonomics Expo. And so he actually got a lot of ergonomic experts who were not into alternative chairs and things to really like his product, and we're hoping it'll get out into bigger spaces so people in bigger offices are offered better options for sitting. So it's like my look. I promote it because I absolutely love it. So it's mysoulseat.com.
Oh, thank you, and please post the link. I don't know about you guys. I'm over here like, ooh, gimme.
And I love it because you know how everybody always told you for your whole life to sit still in your chair, and this makes you not sit still in your chair.
Right.
It makes me so happy.
Get bouncy, get excited. I love it. Yes, please post that. And I get to see you guys next week. I'm so uber pumped. I can't even wait. So 4 more sleeps till I get to meet you two as well. So yay, thank you.
We're gonna have so much fun in Vegas.
It is gonna be, and not that usual kind where it's like we're actually gonna talk about what happened in Vegas.
Yeah.
This time we're going to actually talk about it. So, guys, that's it for the show. Thank you so much to my guests. I have Matt Murray, Felicia Rateliff, Said It Right Again, and Adam Zuckerman. You guys make sure to go circle them. We're going to put all their contact info and all that good stuff in there. Real quick, my back crap crazy this week, again, is for Firmoo. Man, I friggin' love these glasses. I got so excited about this. I know, right? I got 2 pair from Firmoo. First one, wabam, that's my 80s look. I love the 80s. My second one, oh, hi, because I feel saucy. And that's Firmoo, FIRMOO.com. And the first person to comment that they want to get new glasses gets 15% off, and then they do have a BOGO. So I just like them. And this is really what I love to do, is talk about stuff I love all damn day. And that's what I did. So, guys, go to the MiaConnect.com and subscribe and get some good stuff. And we'll see you next week in Vegas. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. is here. Hi, brother. And Cheryl wants to know if Dave Pipe, who is in UK, brought her breakfast. He's really good about bringing grub to the show. Our girl Lynn is in the audience. Hey, darling. I have yes, I think I have 4 more sleeps till I get to see Lynn Abate, so I'm pretty excited about that. She's saying hi to my twinsy Dawn Swick, who's also out there. I am excited that Cheryl's here live because I know sometimes she is working for certain. Mike Bays, he's up in his house. Oh, I know it's soggy in California, Karen Vichin. Oh, man, what are they calling it? The Pineapple Express or something like that? Have you guys heard that? They're calling that the crazy storm. And let me see if I've got a couple others. Hi, Mel Mel. She's out there, too. And Candy is tuning in and laughing at Dave Pipe. She is in Japan. And I think my brother Nazim is on a train going from Milan. Life of Nazim. He's always doing something nutty. So, and then Efot wants to know, she meant to say HOA, but Adam, she wants to know if this is your first HOA.
It is.
We call that popping your cherry.
Uh-oh.
How you feeling?
We'll see.
That gets this noise.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, right. We'll have a cigarette. We'll talk tomorrow. So, listen, you guys, I want to get, so thank you, Backpack, for being here. And please post your comments for our guests as we get through the conversation and talk about these different events. They are off the chain, and you're going to get so inspired by them. So, listen, I'm going to start with Felicia, because ladies first, because I said so. Let's hear about you. How did you get, I mean, this is what I love. Before I do that, I love that all 3 of these entrepreneurs not only started their ventures, but then they took it to the next step, and they went out and started bringing entrepreneurs together. Love that. So, with that, I'm going to talk to, I love Felicia's got her little, I bet that's really not accurate, is it? You need the little
horns. That is what we call a facade.
In the acting world, that's a facade. And I like it. So, Felicia Rateliff, now did I say it right? Tell me about you, honey. How'd you get inspired to do what you do right now?
Oh, my goodness. We don't have long enough for me to tell my story, but I actually have been an entrepreneur kind of off and on. Well, I think you kind of just are when you're born, but I off and on for many years. I freelanced. I taught graphic design for many years. I taught high school students. I freelanced and had my own business on the side then. Then I had a crazy psycho boss, which some people can maybe relate to, and I left teaching and started my own business doing marketing and design for about a year and a half or so, and did an event called the Texas State Society Presidential Inaugural Ball honoring President Obama. And so I did all the marketing for that, and I got picked up by a PR firm in Austin, Texas that said, hey, we like what you're doing. How about you come work for us for a while? And, you know, after a year and a half of having my own business, I thought that might be kind of cool to work for somebody else again. And I got to do a lot of really big, high-profile stuff. So I did that for about a year and a half and remembered that I really don't like working for other people. And so just recently, and looping back into where I'm at now with the What If Conference, had some ideas that I wanted to go back and start doing things on my own and work with really people that really are like-minded and want to do some things in the world. And right at that little tipping point where I was thinking about it, I happened to go to the What If Conference in Columbia, Missouri, where incidentally, really weirdly, the night before the conference, happened to be sitting at a pub next to Matt Murray. Didn't even know who it was. Then went to the conference the next day, and then ended up kind of intermingling in it, and ended up doing a lot of things on the side while I was working for somebody else to help out the What If Conference and some other entrepreneurs here in the Columbia area, and then went to the Business Innovation Factory Conference, which is also sort of kind of like What If, but not as cool. And ended up just, I after lots of wait and lots.
Oh yeah, that's right. And guess what's going to happen? I'm going to hit it twice because you're watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss. It's time for some more fun. And listen, before I get into our guests, I just want to announce my new rebranding for 2015, and it's Mia talking to cool people doing cool shit. That's my new rebranding. What does everybody think? I'm just going to simplify it. Talking to cool people about cool stuff they're doing. And today is no exception. I've got 3 really inspiring entrepreneurs whom I've met recently. 2 of them I'm going to go see in person next week in Vegas. The other one I'm hopefully going to see in DC next month. So I can't wait for you to meet them because they're doing cool shit. I'm going to have to bleep myself in the podcast, by the way. And yes, you can tell that it's okay to swear on my show. So listen, I'm going to introduce my guests real quickly, and then I'm going to get to the backpack because I know you're out there running around and waiting to hear about this. So first up, I have Felicia Rateliff, who I jacked your name up in the trailer.
It was awesome.
I was like, what a jerk. You were very gracious about it. So you may mispronounce my name now.
That's all right, Maya. It's fine. Maya Vost.
Maya Voff. I had that coming. Hey, girlfriend, where are you coming out of?
I am in Columbia, Missouri.
Which, from what I hear, is the, what do you guys call it, the Silicon Valley of the Midwest?
I hadn't heard that, but yeah, sure.
You know
cool.
what? You know who told me that? Yeah, that sounds cool, doesn't it? Sarah Hill told me that one.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna steal that for the Midwest. So welcome to the show, honey. I'm so excited to see you. Yay! And here's your partner in crime, Matt Murray. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
God.
Now, if you can spell it correctly, that's the tricky part. So,
That's right. Is it not M-U-R-R-A-Y?
no,
Welcome.
it's
It's M-U-R-I-E. And you're also in the Silicon Valley of the Midwest. Is that right?
yeah, that's what they tell us, I guess. So,
That's what you've heard. And you just got back from Vegas.
yep.
You getting everything prepped up for the what if.
Yeah, really excited.
So thinking, man, this is what I have to do. I decided to quit working full-time for this other company and go back into working for me and with other people who are also entrepreneurs. And the biggest thing about it was that I really felt like I did a lot of really great things with this other firm, worked for some great things, but I wasn't doing things that made me feel like I was giving to my community and were the places that I cared about and the things that I wanted. And so that was where it was like, yeah, I can do all these things voluntarily on the side, or I can find a way to actually make that my life and my job. And so that's what I ended up doing. Now I'm working with Matt on the What If Conference. I'm also starting another company in about a month or so, doing some internal training kind of things for small businesses so they can have a better company culture and providing resources for that. It's coming soon. We don't even have the name for the business yet, so I can't really talk a lot about it. But
I saw that in
me.
I love that. And I can just see how Matt was probably like doing this with you.
Yeah, he was. He was really like, quit your job. No.
But it sounds like serendipity as well, which I love. That you just happen to be and I think when you're open to that, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and people just swoop in and pull that in. But you know what I'm loving too about your story, which I know a lot of the audience has that too, is they've ebbed and flowed. And I love being able to change your mind, right? And say, okay, for right now, I want a paycheck. I want some insurance. Okay, I'm going to go find something that can sort of still let me be the entrepreneur that I am, bring that spirit out and do that. And then you're like, and I always say that, I make a terrible employee.
I'm always late to everything, so don't. but yes, and the neat thing about it is that when you really want something and you have that like feeling that I need to do something different, it seems to be that if you just kind of let that keep coming up, that people will pop in that help you get to where you're going. So like the next little rock in the stream that you can step onto just come.
Really excited. The energy and the atmosphere out there is super exciting, and excited to go back.
Isn't that fun? So we're going to get into that, you guys, but I just want to give you a quick little backstory that I learned about the Downtown Vegas project when I was at Success Summit, which is where I met our other guest at. Everything loops together. And so I think what's really fun is this conference next week is not going to be on the Strip. It's going to be in downtown. There's some super cool stuff going on, and I'm going to be all over that like white on rice next week, so stay tuned for that. But next up, let's talk about our other guest. On the other coast, that's Adam Zuckerman. Welcome. Oh. I shall clap for you.
Hello,
hello, and where are you at?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Oh, keeping it real in D.C.
Yeah.
Nice, and I know that you are also getting ready to bust out something super cool, which is, again, why we're all together, because we want to talk about cool events. And you are, what is your company called?
Yeah, I started Fosterly, and we have an event called Collaborate the Innovators Conference. It is the single largest innovation and entrepreneurship event in the D.C. region of the year. 2 days in downtown D.C., and it's pretty rocking.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, I posted all the links for both of these events in the comment stream, so click back down there. I put it in the pictures. You're going to lose your mind when you see what's happening with that. Adam's got really cool ideas for pulling people together. You've got like a couple different forums for your event, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We've had a variety of events over the last 2 years, ranging in size from 30 people to 1,500 plus, and this is the culmination of putting the best of everything we've done into one 2-day format.
I call it gathering your finest meats.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the Mia world and the Miaisms. It keeps on going. So listen, I'm going to get to the backpack, and since you guys haven't been on my show before, the backpack is the audience, and they're out there, they're commenting. So I'm going to pull up a couple comments. We've got hi Cheryl Deuce. I like how they say hi to each other. She's saying hi to my girl Elena, who's in Spain. We got some seriously international stuff going on here. Albert